Good evening, everyone. Evaro Voices welcomes you all for this week's conversation with Dr. Shraddha JS. She is working in Apollo Hospital, Bhopal. She's an obstetrician, gynecologist, specialist of reproductive medicine, and a junior consultant in Apollo Hospitals. Welcome, Dr. Shraddha. We are waiting to hear everything that you have brought for us. And very, very important issues are plaguing women today. And we are waiting to know more about all the things that we have listed here, which we will go one by one. And please introduce and say a few words before we can fire you with questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, ma'am. I'm very excited to share my thoughts and views from doctor's point of view to the world.
Right.
So thank you so much for this amazing voices, and I hope that
Evara
this
means
video.
God's gift. So every guest who comes on this show is the gift of God for us. And the knowledge that they bring comes from God, and it's going to help and inspire more women who would want to follow on your path as well as learn from your experience and knowledge. Thank you so much.
Sure,
And
ma'am.
can we,
Hope this conversation helps many more people.
of course, it's going to
Yeah.
be wonderful. Thank you for joining. And shall we begin?
Yes, sure.
Okay, our first question is, what fertility issues are women facing today?
So right now, from Indian perspective, we see many cases of PCOS now.
Mm,
Every eight patients, out of 10 women, so we see eight of the patients coming with the PCOS to our OPD. So that is a main concern we are getting. And right now, and any kind of disease that is related to the hormonal thing,
mm,
so any kind of fibroids, if you have heard of fibroids, if you have heard of any endometriosis, that is very much uh,
right.
um, yeah, increasing these days. So that is the most important concern regarding this our 21st century.
But why do you think it's happening? I mean, why are the cases increasing today? Do you see a pattern emerging there?
Yes, pattern is emerging, ma'am. So because of this lifestyle modifications and the polluted air, so there is something called dioxins. So they are like endocrine chemical substances. So
Mm,
they really affect our body in the all of conditions. So they affect our hypothalamic axis and ovarian axis. So just brain, ovaries, and everything that has to be in the axis in order to function well. So all these lifestyle factors, yeah, stress factors, and any kind of air pollution, any other environmental stress, or any environmental pollution factors, they all they all create the disturbance in the axis in the females and males also as well.
okay. And at
Yeah,
what
males
point
also as well.
males also, definitely it is, see, that is one thing that women are facing is the taboo of being infertile, which is not just their part of being infertile. It also comes from the husband. So when
Yes.
we say that two people, both the sexes are going through, both the genders are going through this problem, at what point should a woman seek fertility treatment or support from a specialist?
So first thing, it depends on their age.
Hmm.
The age is the most important factor. So ideally, no woman in this present 21st century, they don't know that what is the right age for the pregnancy. So ideal with less miscarriage risk and less infertility risk is 21 to 24 years of age.
Wow.
So that is like 21 to 24. We don't expect that it is like 21 to 24. So right now, because of this professional goals and many more things, so all the financial constraints and everything, they delay the pregnancy, and for many factors. But the ideal age for the pregnancy is 21 to 24, but which is not possible in this century because of this inflation and late settlements and everything. So after that, like if the patient comes, like if the couple is suffering with infertility or something, so they have to try for a good amount of period, and after 12 months of trying, I think like they have to come to the gynec OPD.
Okay.
And if the age is below than 30, it works. And if the age is after 30, they have to come after 6 months of trying.
All right.
And
So
after
as
35, only 3 months.
they age older and older, the time they take to come reduces.
Yes. So it's like below 30, it is like 12 months. After 30, it is like 6 months. And after 35, it is 3 months only.
Okay.
So apart from this, if they consider like they have like irregular periods, if they have any symptoms like heavy menstrual bleeding or any regular periods or any kind of complaints from gynec side, they have to visit the gynecologist or
How
any reproductive
how
specialist.
much do you think stress and diet factors play a role in this? Because obesity and weight gain happens due to PCOS also. So it is all
Yes,
cyclic. One leads to another, and then it becomes a chain, that which cannot be broken. So
yes.
where do we
So
find
stress
this
account.
balance?
No, no. Stress is like very, very important factor, even in our doctor's team and everything. So
Mm.
when we plan for the pregnancy or something, so stress is the main. Stress and lifestyle is the main thing which comes in, which hinders this journey. So it is like 10%, 10 to 20%. It is stress is accountable,
Okay.
but we need to manage it somehow. So
You see,
I think
I wish to add
uh,
something here. I've been in stress research for 20 years. And
mm,
that is what led me to meet Shruti, and we are coming up with a health facility. It's a research project,
yes.
and everything originates with stress because
Mhm.
from being a normal symptom, then it goes into a chronic. Uh, the chronic stage is what we are discussing now. But
Yes.
there is a journey happening in between that stress point to the chronic stage of PCOS, endometriosis, and
It
stuff.
even leads to the cancers. There is an
Yes,
evidence.
yes.
So
So as you rightly said, 21 is not the age that they can opt for marriage. So they go on to
yeah,
do their masters, and they want career, they want to see some savings, they want to see the world. And when they come back to agreeing, okay, I'm ready to settle down, then the
yes.
problem really hits them hard. So
Hmm.
my next question is, what are the benefits and limitations of fertility preservation methods like egg freezing? And is it important? And what are the advantages? And under what circumstances are they able to use it? And what is the success rate of egg freezing?
Okay, so main first consideration for the preservation is for the cancers basically. It is
Oh,
introduced for the cancer patients basically. It's not for the regular patients. So
okay.
first consideration is for cancer patients who are undergoing the cancer treatment, chemotherapy.
Hmm.
So by which like all after chemotherapy, most of the ovaries and everything is all gone. So
Hmm.
before undergoing this radiation or chemotherapy, they will take this fertility preservation, in which they will undergo all the stimulation and and also egg freezing. So second consideration is like delayed pregnancy.
Okay.
So right now, many professional people, so they are coming to our OPD just to delay the pregnancy because they have want to settle early in their life. Matlab, in and around 30s or
Hmm.
something. Any entrepreneurs, they are concentrating on their careers, so they want to postpone the pregnancy. And mainly, what I observed is like financial constraints also.
Okay.
So many employees they can't reach the inflation rate in the community, so with their minimal salaries they won't be able to get the kids and education, and these days it is like very costly in India.
So if that factor is expensive, and what's
Yes.
the cost of freezing the eggs? And how long can the eggs be stored?
So it costs at a normal center in India it is costing like 2 to 2.5 lakhs.
I mean, it's a one-time fee?
No, we have to. We can pay it like in like per month or something. One yearly we can pay it, but at the first time we have to pay like 1 lakh for the stimulation and everything.
And every year we have to keep on paying.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
rent. It's like we are paying a rent for storing the eggs, right?
Store the eggs, and
Okay.
also so according to this ARTs, so basically this egg freezing and everything is maintained by Artificial Reproductive Technology Acts. So
Mm-hmm.
legally they are bond. So these can be stored for 10 years now.
Oh,
Yeah, only 10 years,
only 10
not
years,
more than
not
10
more
years.
than that.
Yes, not more than 10 years. But what we observed is they get fertility preservation done, egg freezing done, yeah, semen freezing done, but we don't see the patients coming back and after 5 years. That is the main problem we are facing. So
So
we are
what
advising them
happens?
to go.
This is very interesting. Then what happens under those circumstances if they never come back?
So we will store for 10 years. If they pay the rent or
Mm.
something, we will just
Mm.
extend the things and everything because it is also costly. So freezing
Right,
methods and
right,
everything storage is also will take so much of cost.
right.
So we will store it for 10 years max
Mm.
and then discard it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
very
is
sad.
thing.
That's very sad.
So, but
So
people are not reverting back to us. So
no,
that
not
awareness.
see, not what happens. The whole system can change by the time
Yeah,
they freeze the eggs, and their relationship would have evolved or broken also, and
yeah, that
their
also.
choices might have changed, and
Yes,
so many things can happen midway. But just having this option of freezing eggs, that itself is a good I mean, like, way forward for women, because the stress happens because their responsibilities are much more than what men go through. So,
yes.
when they have an option, that is a very good, positive way forward for them in life itself. So, coming to our next question would be, how can we break the stigma around infertility and miscarriage? How often does miscarriage take place in a normal situation? And if they are going for IVF, what are the success rates of IVF?
Okay. So naturally, at the age, as I already told, so 21 to 24 is the apt age for the pregnancy. In that age, the risk of miscarriage is only 11%. That is the smallest of all.
Right.
So 24 to 29, again, it is a 13% according to world statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 to 35, again, it increases to 14 to 19%. And after 35, it is like 19%.
Okay.
It is very significant,
Very
20%, almost 19 matlab 20%. So in and around 20% is significant stress that is causing the people. So um, so in order to remove that stigma in the community, we have to create, I think we have to create the women groups to support them. And one support comes from the workplace as well. So
Oh,
main thing is from workplace. So at the same time, for a woman, money is important, finance is important, they have to work, there is no other option, and at the same time they have to take the uh, coming out and doing the treatment, they have to give the time in the hospital also. So
hmm.
at the same time we have to support them at the workplace, and also family, partner, and also the woman group, I think. And these days social media is coming up with the good groups. So we are educating the people for the second tier cities, yeah, village groups. So they are reaching YouTube, and everything is reaching the villages also. They are having every knowledge about miscarriage, what is happening in the miscarriage, yeah, what is infertility. So when they have to meet the people, when they have to go to the doctor, yeah, what is gynecologist. And recently there is a very big separation in the gynecology also. So there is something called sub branches evolving.
Oh,
So earlier there was only gynec.
right.
Gynec is 100% gynec. So for
Hmm.
everything it is like only gynec. So recently it has evolved like reproductive medicine specialist, and specialization, and fetal medicine, and maternal medicine, high risk maternal medicine, and gynec onco. So there are like different subcategories in the gynec. So
See,
whom do we have to meet?
I do understand that technological breakthroughs are important, research is important, and expansion itself is so important. But one thing I beg to differ with the Western way of approaching is that they segregate and separate everything when it's
Hmm.
we are one whole thing. And when we don't do that approach, as you're rightly telling, the gynecologist is like a womb doctor. I think she should
Yes.
be rightly called as a womb doctor. And then, so
Hmm.
everything that happens within and outside of it, that she should be the specialist, right? So what
Hmm.
happens when even that is segregated, that the link and that support, the medical aspect of it itself, there can be some gaps, right?
So burden for the gynecologist also will get reduced after segregating the subjects, subspecialties. So they can concentrate on only specific thing. Research will be
So
better.
I look at only the left toe and nothing else. So I become a toe specialist.
Yes. Huh. So they can do proper research. That is what happening in the Western countries, and even India is following now. So earlier it was like it's recently started in 2010. So they have introduced this reproductive medicine as a specialty branch. So right now it is like upcoming branch. So we are waiting forward like within 10 years or something it will get through it. Yeah.
Wonderful. What are the barriers women face in seeking fertility treatment, and how can we address them better?
Barriers. So according to my experience, from what I see in the patient's mind or something, so they have this social stigma first thing. So that is the first point they faced with the stigma only. So and they couldn't share it with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And second thing, they only come with their problem. So they think that infertility is only concerned with themselves.
Mm.
Female infertility has so only it is not concerned with the males, and they only come with the problems they have, and they keep on taking the treatments from the local gynacs.
Ah.
So earlier it was male infertility was only 30%. So now it is 45%. So 40 to 45% male and 40 to 45% female.
So
So it is equal now.
the lifestyle factors, the pollution, and lot of things are reducing sperm count also in men, isn't it?
Yes,
So
yes,
that
yes.
the declining sperm count also
Hmm.
adds to the infertility problem,
Yes,
which goes unaddressed, and definitely the stigma aspect has to be dealt with more community groups, and
yes,
support system has to increase, isn't it?
yes.
Thank.
And
Tell
and
me, tell me.
second thing, finance.
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 Okay, okay. What is the general cost of fertility treatment are we looking at?
So basically, it depends on the what type of ART we are doing it. So
Oh, okay.
any IUI treatment will cost like 20,000, which is like very normal.
Very normal. Very normal.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yes, and IVF treatment is minimum of 1 lakh, 1.5,
So that's not
and
bad.
it goes on for like 1 month, 1.5 month, and
Okay.
sometimes it will run. So infertility is not so IVF it will cost 1 month. Sorry, 1 lakh.
Hmm.
But the thing, sometimes we get this genital TB cases also. That
Oh,
is a very hard thing to treat. So
okay.
in that instance, and whole of the endometrium is spoiled.
Right. Right.
So in that cases, what we have to do, we have to give treatment of ATT for 1 year,
Oh,
and then we have to make them conceive.
okay. Okay. That's
So
wonderful.
that is one thing. So second cases, we get this premature ovarian failure.
Oh, yes.
That
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
we have to do the reversal of the menstruation. So
Correct.
it will take like 4 months. So it's not like 1 month thing, or only that IVF procedure will take 1 month.
Uh-huh.
And some people will require surgeries before IVF.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, patient has come with a fibroid, we have to do the surgery, and after surgery we have to wait for 3 months and then do IVF treatment. So it is like a cascade. Like we have to take the patient for 4 5 months. So it's not like 1 month treatment or 2 months treatment.
Okay. Thank you for
So
joining, Doctor. We're going to
yes,
continue our next episode also with Doctor. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you.
sure. Thank you.